There's lots of things that can cause your chickens. Linda, no. Hey, come on, baby. Don't hit my kid. Look, Linda. Linda, please. Oh my God. Hey guys, welcome to TCR. Sid here. Thanks for clicking on the video. If you haven't done so already, make sure you hit that subscribe button. Today we're going to talk about why your chicken might look like something out of a bad sci-fi film. So it's fall, guys, and that means that there is a high likelihood that your girls are starting to look a little something like this and probably not laying very many eggs right now either. Now there are several reasons why your chicken could be molting, but let's get into a few of them. Now of course, number one reason why you might be noticing some bald patches, especially on the back of your bird, is if you've got roosters. Sorry, my pigs are mad, it's close to feeding time. Bear with me, guys. If you have roosters, a lot of times we'll have a favorite hen or two, and they will visit those girls more frequently. And what that usually ends up doing is causing some feather loss, usually right here at the back of their head. This is fun. I picked the worst chicken to do this with, just so you know. So right at the back of their head here, their neck area, a lot of times the roosters will like to grab that to essentially hold on. Roosters also have spurs most commonly, so they will kind of dig into the girls to sort of hold on for their 8-second ride, if you will. Now, if you've got a lot of roosters and very few hens, you might notice that your girls look a little bit more beat up than they should. Well, you might want to think about adjusting your ratio. You want to think of having several girls to every rooster. I like to comfortably say, depending on the temperament of your rooster and the breed, of course, but somewhere around 3 to 5 per rooster. It's just a safety thing. Or make sure that you have a lot of open space so that the girls have areas that they can go and escape to. Another reason your girls might be losing some feathers is check for mites. Mites are little tiny white, almost yellowy looking little bugs that eat the dead skin around the quills, and they can be very irritating to the birds, and they can cause them to pick at themselves, and that can lead to little open sores or loss of feathers. We're gonna go ahead and let her live her best life now, because she's not having none of that, sister friend. Okay, that was fun. So getting back to fall, the reason that your girls are maybe not laying so much, well, it's normal. The daylight hours are shorter, and this is part of what sets the birds' clocks. Now, the first year of a chicken's life into her first year of laying, when she's a first year pullet, they don't go through a molt. They grow in their adult feathers, they start laying eggs somewhere, depending on the breed, between the 5 to 7 mark most typically. You won't have any issues with them until the following fall, depending on when they were born. So it's usually sometime between the first 15 to 2-year mark of them being good producers for you. They go into their first molt, and molt is totally normal, and some birds will lose all their feathers. They might be literally running around looking like a drumstick, just naked as the day they were born. That's not quite right, they were hatched, but you know what I'm saying. Just naked as a jaybird, essentially, running around, living their best life, looking kind of scary for a few days before you start to see what are their quills, and they kind of look a little porcupine-y. Now these can be a little bit painful for the girls to be growing all at once, kind of irritating to them as well. They usually, as you can see, don't like to be held very much during that time. They're kind of a little bit prickly, and that's okay. But there's some things you can do to help kind of ease that and make it easier for them to grow back their feathers. These are not for you. My lambs always think when I get this bag out that they're gonna get some, and you don't, because you don't eat these. So these are some black soldier fly larvae. Anything from these to mealworms, making sure that they have a really high protein feed. This will help them regrow their feathers back and help them kind of keep them from depleting quite so much of their energy, because it takes a lot of energy to stay warm in these chillier nights and grow feathers at the same time. So you do want to make sure that you're giving them a lot of protein. Don't overdo it, of course, but you know, you want to give them a little boost, a little bump, and some treats like this every now and then during the week are really going to help let those feathers grow back. Now, while your birds are looking crazy, you might also have noticed that, gosh, they're not really laying much right now. Well, again, that is normal. Birds cycle. just like everything else in nature, there's seasons for things. And this time of year, the birds may either slow down in their laying, or if you've got some older girls, they might stop altogether. And this is normal. There are things you can do to kind of help and trick it. The protein actually helps as well that I mentioned. Some people like to put lights, artificial lights in their coop to help extend the daylight hours, so essentially tricking their bodies into thinking that it's longer days and that they should be laying. I'm personally not a big fan of this. I think the girls need a rest. There's a reason biologically while their bodies go through this cycle. And if you've got a flock that you care about or that you want healthy eggs from, I think giving them that rest, I mean, they've been providing you with butt nuggets for years. Give them a couple weeks to chill out. It's not the end of the world. And if you were a good farmer or a good homesteader, you saved a lot of your eggs, so that should be able to get you through this hump. Another trick to combat this hump involves actually new birds. So, I have several birds in my flock right now that are established. I've had them for years. I have some that we got as soon as we moved to the homestead, so they're getting on to be about 7 now. And they've, yes, slowed down in their egg production, but they've become really excellent mothers. So what I started doing is letting them incubate some of their own eggs or pulling some and sticking them in my incubator in the spring and hatching out some new babies. This way I know that I'll always have a few that are newer layers that won't be going through a molt in the fall, but will just be hitting their stride and doing their first season of laying at the end of summer. This will ensure that I definitely have eggs every year as either my older birds start to die out or stop laying altogether and maybe end up in the crock pot. So no, your zombie bird is not dying. No, you're not a horrible chicken parent. Everything is fine. Take a deep breath. Let the girls have their rest. Make sure you're giving them extra protein. Thanks for watching, guys. Don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and click the bell so you get the notification.